This year at WaterRA we're celebrating our 10th anniversary. From our origins as a cooperative research centre, we've grown and evolved into the successful hub for innovation and research that we are today. We've been meeting the changing needs of our members and the water sector for over a decade, helping them to solve the problems that they face now and also to anticipate and take the opportunities that the future presents. And we continue to be leaders in collaboration through co-design, co-production, co-delivery of high-impact research that translates into real-world solutions for our members in the water sector. Now, as we celebrate our 10th anniversary, we continue to evolve to ensure that we stay at the forefront of science for healthy people, healthy lives and a healthy planet.
The Cooperative Research Centre for Water Quality and Treatment started in 1995. It was an interesting time for the water industry because it was shifting from essentially state government water departments to very much business sort of focused organisations.
There wasn't any real consideration being given to the core business, which was, in my opinion, which was the provision of safe drinking water. And so the CRC scheme was an ideal opportunity to provide some sort of national science team to underpin the development of national drinking water guidelines that would require the industry, if it was privatised, to comply with the best standards across the world. I think we surprised ourselves as how much of a contribution we made. I think on a non-technical level, we became very well known all around the industry when people didn't even know about the CRC system when we first got started. And in the end, we were the ones to immediately go to if there was an issue. And we were regarded by internationals as the leading water quality group in Australia in a very short time.
Nancy was amazing. I knew Nancy from before the Cooperative Research Centre. The level of respect that she had across the board within the industry and within the universities was amazing. And she was very forceful. You didn't have any doubt as to where she was coming from. She was quite clear about what she was wanted to happen.
Our annual Nancy Millis Memorial PhD Scholarship acknowledges the immense contribution that Nancy made to the water sector throughout her distinguished career. As part of our Research Leadership Programme, it is awarded to a PhD student who best embodies the spirit and values that Nancy brought to her work.
The CRC system was developed to provide a period of time when industry could work with researchers to tackle their challenges and opportunities together. And if it didn't work, well, okay, you could park company and go off and do something different. But if it did work, then the idea was that the industry would then fund the program from then on. After 11, 12, 13 years of working together, if the industry can't work out that that's been an absolute goldmine for them in terms of taking water from a controversial issue to a pretty safe spot that it's at now, if they can't work that out and see that it's worth pursuing that in the long term and funding it, then that we didn't deserve to be in the dole queue of the federal government system, in my opinion.
The water authorities didn't need too much convincing that there was a role for such an organisation. So it was just a matter of meeting with the various utilities and showing them what the value of the Cooperative Research Centre had been, and that if they prepared to join or put up more money, they could have a similar organisation.
And I think we're still the only CRC out of the now probably 200 or so that's been in existence that's actually transferred totally from the CRC to an industry-funded centre, and I'm quite proud of that.
The WQRA model at the time was very innovative, and it really was the first of its kind. It was one of the first CRCs that translated from the CRC federally funded model into a model that was membership based and that was supported by its industry. We're very lucky in the respect that we had staff members that had previously worked for the CRC that were willing to take that leap of faith with me. And given that I was a new chief executive and they didn't know me at all, I believe that that was a really instrumental step in the success of WQRA in its startup year. And then what we did was we tried to build up the team, looking for those key skills across Australia, and we were very fortunate that the people that we got on board were the people that really did make that difference to both our members, our industry, and also the quality of research that we were able to achieve in a very short space of time. I really loved working with Michael. We had a lot of great adventures together, and definitely for that first 12 months it was very much around bringing his knowledge of the research environment together, his experience as an academic, together with my corporate knowledge, and his passion, his enthusiasms, his phone calls at about 10 o'clock on Saturday night. That's what made it work. It was an absolute privilege to work with him as the first chair.
We honour Michael's contribution to the water industry by awarding an outstanding honours student with the annual Michael Moore Memorial Scholarship.
I think WQRA's biggest success was its ability to be flexible and to adjust. You know, when Michael and I sat there and had to think about what we were looking for, we'd hoped that we would get 5, maybe 6 years out of WQRA. What's shown the success of now Water Research Australia is its ability to engage with its members, to adapt to the political environment in which it works, and also the projects, and the ability to morph into something that is required for the greater community.
What was happening in the whole sector was we had a number of research entities that were investing in water research, and it was pretty obvious that over the coming few years there wasn't going to be that number of entities in the marketplace. So, and that was probably more that external driver, where I saw that WQRA or subsequently Water Research Australia could really fill that void and become the sort of premier research agency for the water sector. And so I think that was the catalyst for the change. It was really evolve, or we saw the business diminishing really going forward. The challenges were, I guess, both internal and external. So there was the membership, and whether the membership would accept the change in the first place. Everything needed to be voted on by the members. Then there was probably the view that, you know, the organisation had a long history in water quality research, and we didn't want to de-emphasise the importance of water quality. That's fundamental. But we also saw the emergence of a whole lot of other areas that really weren't within the remit of the organisation at that time.
When I started with WaterRA, David Halliwell and Sean Cox and the board had just put together a new strategy which involved a new business model, which was going to transition from funding projects out of members' contributions to a model where funding for projects came out of interest in the projects themselves, and members or non-member organisations actually putting funding in to get particular projects up and running. So that was quite challenging. So for me, the focus of all the staff that year on trying to initiate new projects that had interest for industry members and that industry members would fund. At the same time, we were trying to make sure that those interests and those projects lined up with what the research members could deliver. At the end of the first year, I think we had a target of getting 4 new projects initiated using the new model. From memory, I think we got about 6. And we had a target of the total funding that we would get, which we also exceeded in that first year. So that was great. That was really an important thing for the organisation. It also gave a message to members that the new model could work, and to research organisations that could produce, that the new model could actually produce really interesting research projects that were challenging for them. An organisation like Water Research Australia is important because it provides a mechanism by which many organisations can contribute to one organisation that can carry on really strong, really good quality research. And I think the important thing in the future will be getting the balance right between being able to identify joint projects that are of value to industry, but that also provide value to the research members.
The water industry is a brilliant industry because it's not competitive across utilities. I mean, for one utility to adopt an innovation, there's no disadvantage in another utility that are geographically separate adopting that same innovation, and so that provides an additional motivation for them to want to share the risk and share the cost and come together and work together. So I think that's a really nice thing about the industry, and the industry's got a long history of working together very collaboratively, and I think WaterRA just helps to perhaps accelerate that collaboration in some areas.
As an inaugural CEO, it's absolutely heartening to see where Water Research Australia has landed. I see that we will have another 10 years of research that is impactful, has value and is member supported. As the member for Flinders University now, I say that it is an organisation that not only have I been proud to lead in the past, but I'm also very proud to belong to now.
Throughout our rich history, our members have helped lay the foundations for our organisation and our culture of collaboration, innovation and impact. Our members are critical to our success, both in solving the challenges of today and ensuring that our water research enables a prosperous future for all. It has been their willingness to share and learn from one another and their focus on the big issues and what matters to the whole water sector that has enabled us to achieve so much. For over 10 years, we have all worked together as one big team, solving challenges and taking opportunities, and we will continue to do this into the future.